Friends, one very serious issue which in modern times has made living difficult for many, though it is supposed to be the tool or the path or the blessing which should help in living with peace, harmony, and prosperity. The issue I'm talking about is religion. Religion, at least in the modern world and Indian society particularly, has created more problems than it has solved. As far as world is concerned, if you go into the history, there have been wars and wars and wars. Without naming any particular religion, people from Europe, people from Gulf countries, people from other places have been fighting, killing, trying to establish one or the other form of the religion. India, though probably the most invaded, but has always maintained religion as a gift of God, as a path of God, as a path of peace, living in harmony and help each other. Consequently, though India had the specific religious approach known as Sanatan Dharma or Hindu Dharma, which is considered by Indians as way of life. Otherwise, if you go into the Hindu religion, there are as many gods, there are as many forms of God as there are human beings. No 10 or 20 human beings can say they worship only one God altogether. But best part is they all respect each other's God, each other's approach, and they help each other in various religious functions and following the path. My purpose of speaking to you is look at religion from its origin till now and find for yourself, was religion really meant to create disharmony, fights, arguments, power hunger, killing each other, and whatnot? If you look at religion, at least I as an Indian and has been brought up in a philosophy which respects every religion, every form of God, irrespective of who follows and how it follows. My view is consider it as a scientific approach. Why religion? Why religion came into existence at all? After all, if we look at nature, everything seemed to be moving as if in a pre-planned way. Human beings have freedom to disturb this natural balance, but the consequences are also to be faced by human beings only. In the recent years, we have heard of environmental imbalances, climate change, disasters, man-made and natural, both, terrorism, and more recent, the coronavirus. Coronavirus probably, as a virus, there were others also who also created similar problems. There was a time when people did not know how to manage malaria. They did not know how to manage smallpox. And flu even today is probably the least understood because it affects every individual with a change of season and in a very specific way. But corona in different context. When we discuss among intellectuals or thinking beings or scientific people, even political and others, often remarks are made. Human beings spoiled the environment, created climate change, but in nature in one go has brought cleanliness into pollution, removed it more or less. Cleanliness into polluted waters, made them really, the river waters are being considered as drinking waters. Therefore, the corona, when I mentioned, was that as a happening, not understood by human beings yet, but has happened, has brought changes which, though frightening, but are also solace giving peace, joy, that something had happened which could not have happened by human doing. However, my objective to you today is kindly look at religion as a scientific basis. In this creation, nothing happens without a purpose. The Creator has created nature, has created creation, and all that which exists in the creation with a very specific purpose. And there seems to be an invisible thread, a force which seems to be having a lot of patience to tolerate a lot of nonsenses, but corrects in one way or the other. Therefore, if we look back at religion in this background, religion philosophically is a way of life. It is a set of principles we as human beings have created to make us live in a particular environment with particular approach, but with the goal of making everyone happy and live in peace. If this is the basis of religion, then all that which has happened in the name of evolutions and changes and different names and different branches also must be having purpose. If you look at it scientifically, if we try to go deep into each aspect of religion and try to find good rather than looking at its evil aspects or bad aspects, I am sure we will be able to find a way or a thread which will connect all together in one way or the other. I am taking two examples. First is the life. Science says carbon is the basic element of all living systems. Carbon, if you look at its structure, has 4 valencies, and these valencies help carbon combine with various other elements to produce various living compounds, various compounds constituting the living being. But my purpose is something else. Look at carbon. It is the source of life in nature as a scientific view. But go to another religion which is as old as existence or creation, called Sanatan or Hindudom. This philosophy considers Sri Ganesha as the source of all that is in front of us. Though there are various other approaches like Adi Shakti, Sadashiva, etc. But Ganesha is the fundamental of existence on earth or in the universe. Hindu religion says Ganesha or everything in the creation begins with Ganesha. Let us look at science. Science says there are 4 valencies of carbon, and carbon is the base of life. But what about Ganesha? Ganesha has 2 specific symbols, one known as swastik, which also has 4 arms like a carbon element. And second is Om, which is more often considered as a sound and energy. In my previous discussions, I had pointed that Om could be the sound of Big Bang. But I am not going at this moment into that. Coming back to Sri Ganesha, carbon has 4 valencies. Sri Ganesha has a symbol swastik, which also has 4 arms. But a very interesting scientific development. A scientist in America created a model of carbon element looking at its shape into the electron microscope. I will show that figure which was created, and when I met the scientist and I took this particular model and went into some other approach, a philosophy suggested by the founder of Sahaj Yoga, Shri Mataji, that carbon, if looked from 4 sides, can give feeling or vision of Om, Swastik, Alpha and Omega. I had taken photograph of this model from 4 sides, and to my pleasant surprise, it was true. It looked like Alpha from one side, it looked like Omega from the other side, it looked like Om from top, and it looked like Swastik from bottom. Now what does it mean? Carbon is the basic unit or element of life in the creation, living systems in the creation, on earth at least. Shri Ganesha is the spiritual being considered as the first one among all those who are considered gods and goddesses. Carbon has 4 arms, 4 valencies. Ganesha has 4 arms and looked from 4 sides gives a vision of Om, Swastik, Alpha and Omega. Let us look at what is Omega and Alpha. Christ, the source of Christianity on this earth, has said, I am beginning, I am end. He also has said, I am Alpha, I am Omega. Alpha is the first word of the Greek alphabet series. Omega is the last in the series, which means beginning and end. Swastik is the symbol of Sri Ganesh, and Om is the sound of origin. If we correlate all 4 observations, carbon is the element of life, together with other elements. Ganesha is the first among all the gods, and represents Swastik and Om. Christ represents Alpha and Omega, but both Sri Ganesha and Sri Christ are connected to carbon. Can we not say that Christ is incarnation of Ganesha or vice versa? And look at Hinduism and Christianity in that perspective. To extend my point further, in Hindu philosophy, Lord Ganesha was created without father by the mother from Panch Mahabhutas or forms of matter, and converted into a living being. Christ was also born without a worldly father, and mother brought him up. And his symbol is cross. If you take swastik, straighten his 4 arms, pull them into the proportion of swastik, then swastik and cross will look alike. Shri Ganesha is the beginning and end. Christ is also the Alpha and Omega, or beginning and end. Therefore, is there not a basis to study Christianity and Hinduism as forms from a same tree, or two aspects of the same tree, or one as a branch of the same tree? Coming to Islam, Islam says Allah is the only one. Hinduism also says Sadashiv is the only one. Everything is emerged out of him. In Islam, when the worship is done, they stretch both hands and pray to Allah for giving them everything. There is a field of yoga emerged out of the Hindu philosophy known as Sahaj Yoga, which also does the worshipping, puts both hands forward and prays to Almighty for giving them everything. Islam says our hands will speak, or all those who follow Islam, their hands will speak on the final day of judgment. Sahaj Yoga says your hands will tell you what is good, what is bad, what to do, what not to do. That means your hands speak to you. Therefore, we have a system already which has emerged out of the Hindu philosophy of yoga as a base, which follows similar approaches and teaches things which are similar to Islam. In fact, all those who practice Sahaj Yoga know that many of the practices of Islam taught by Muhammad Sahib are being followed in Sahaj Yoga, to the extent that Ruhu and soul both are considered reflection of Allah or the God Sadashiva. Therefore, if you look at two major religions of the world of recent origin within last 2500 or 1000 to 2000 years only, Christianity and Islam, do they not have things which are common with Hinduism, which is the most ancient, oldest religion on earth? Therefore, why fight? If the oldest and some of the newest